and welcome to the very first episode of Sharissa Reads. I absolutely love reading. It's probably the only thing that I can say with complete certainty that is my all-time favorite hobby. And I think the reason for that is that I just really enjoy learning new things, and anytime I can do that without anybody having to tell me or go to a class, I just feel like it's almost like it's too good to be true. Like I just picked up a book and I learned something new, and I can't even believe that everybody can do this at any time that they want. They can just pick up a book and read a new thing and learn something that they didn't know before. And so that is my favorite thing to do, but I've realized over the years that just collecting all of this information and not really doing anything with it is not really helping anybody. So I thought I could take what I've learned from all of these books that I've read and share a little bit with you just in a brief video, and maybe inspire you to read your next great thing that you could learn about too. And with that in mind, I really wanted to start with something that kind of started me on my own trajectory of personal development and learning a lot more about myself, as well as my kind of journey with nonfiction books. Before that, I would just love to kind of get lost in a story, and I still love that. But there's a part of me now that's completely obsessed with learning new information. And when I read a book, a nonfiction book that teaches me something new, the most important thing for me is to turn around and share that information with somebody else. So naturally I turn to my partner in life and try to say this is the book that I'm reading and this is what I'm learning about, and it's so exciting. And because I do that so often, at least once a week or more, my husband kind of gives me this oh, cool, Sharissa, you read a new book type of thing. So I needed a new audience to share with, and I'm hopeful that I can share this information with you and that you'll get something out of it. Without further ado, my very first book that I wanted to start with today is The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I read this book about 3 years ago, but it is just as relevant to my life now as it was back then, and I still regularly refer back to this book. And when I'm talking to people about creating new habits in their life, I almost always recommend this book to them, because even if you don't follow specifically word for word what Hal Elrod suggests you do, it is such a great starting place for learning about how to develop yourself and how to learn information and how to continue that progression of self-development throughout your life without feeling selfish about it. I'm taking time just for me. But if we're taking time for ourselves and we're learning and we're developing who we are, then that energy and that growth is going to get shared with everybody that we meet and everybody that we come in contact with, including our family members, our loved ones. Everybody benefits when we get to learn and develop ourselves. So I love sharing this information, and I'm excited to have this platform today to share with you guys a little bit more about The Miracle Morning. Hal Elrod sets up this book first of all by telling his personal story. So he talks about his own unbelievable transformation and healing from basically going to the point where he was almost dead to now being one of the most sought after speakers and best-selling author of his books and programs. And he has every year a Miracle Morning 5-day event where he gets everybody, thousands of people together who come and they learn these programs with him together. And it's just such an incredible community that he has built based on his principles for personal development. What he recommends, and the reason it's called The Miracle Morning, is that you do a specific morning routine every single day that you build into your life and into your habit. And I really, really love this about this book is at the end of the book, he actually gives you a link to his website where you can download a very interesting chart, or very cool chart that's 30 days so that you can build this into your life and build this habit. And it's just a neat little tool and a neat little extra. And I love when authors do that. I love when you get that bonus thing. I bought this book, but I also get the bonus to actually put this into action and put it into practice. So Hal Elrod uses an acronym called SAVERS, and each letter stands for part of the morning routine. He recommends at the best that you would be able to do this for 1 hour every single morning. That sounds so hard for me, especially being a mom. I don't have an hour to myself all day long, and especially not first thing in the morning. However, he does give lots of action steps of how you can create this time for yourself, how you can carve out the time, and if you have a really super short window, how you can even do a 6-minute version of his savers in the morning or during your day when you can carve out time. So savers, your first S stands for silence. So that's if you could do it for the 60 minutes, you would do this for about 10 to 15 minutes each time, each thing. Your second letter is A, and that stands for affirmations. Next is V, visualization. E for exercise. R for reading. And then the last S is for scribing or journaling. So what Hal Elrod recommends, and lots of people recommend having a morning routine. I talked about it in my book that I wrote, and I also talked about it in my podcast, and I have structure in my life where I set up certain habits. Like every morning I get up and I make my bed and I drink a glass of water before I have my coffee. And even though I'm still doing other things with my family and have all these responsibilities, I'm kind of plugging in those places for myself during the day. So he recommends 1 hour every single morning, and you do this process. You go through the SAVERS acronym. So first you spend a few minutes every morning just kind of being silent, collecting yourself, collecting your thoughts. Next, you'd spend a few minutes doing your affirmations. Then you would spend a few minutes visualizing the things that you're affirming for yourself, the things you want manifested into your life. Then you would spend some time exercising. And this could look like stretching or going for a walk. I take my dog for a walk every morning, and that's what I consider as my exercise component. Then reading, and that what you would do for, 5 to 20 minutes, depending on how much time you have. And then lastly, you'd spend some time journaling, or what I've done when I followed through this program is I write about my process that I had just spent time, like visualizing and being silent and reading. There's a lot already to reflect on just from those few minutes. So those are his miracle morning steps, and what he suggests is that if you follow the SAVERS protocol, start with the 30 days because you got to build the habit. But what it does is it creates your ability to add in that personal development every single day. So you're reading something, you're feeding your brain, you're feeding your body, you're feeding your knowledge, you're feeding your muscles with the exercise. You're also getting that kind of quiet time, which for me, when I take time to be quiet, it separates my ego, that like thoughts that are constantly going in my mind, from myself. And I can feel like the difference going through my day when I've taken that time to be quiet, and I don't react so much to my environment as much as I just kind of let it unfold. And that has shown a huge difference for me. Also, taking a little bit of time to read every day has made it so that I can read more often and more books because I've built in that little habit. I had a friend ask me today, how do I read so often? The trick for me, if I'm being really honest, is that I have lots of different books going all at the same time, and I keep them in all different places of the house. So right now I'm sitting in my favorite chair that I like to read, and I have The Miracle Morning in one hand, and then the next book that I'm reading right now is The Honest Enneagram, and that's sitting right here. So anytime I'm sitting out here and my kids are not asking me for something, I pick up this book and read a few pages. I also have a book on my Audible account, so if I'm washing dishes, doing laundry, whatever other menial tasks I have to do all day long, I just plug in my earphones and then I'm listening to a book. I also keep a book up in my bedroom and a book in my kitchen because there's just random times during the day where I'll find myself kind of piddling around looking for something to do, and during those times, that's when I take that moment to flip through a couple pages, read a little bit, and just see what I can get information-wise for the day. But I love the way that this book is organized. So I just want to come back around to it one last time. The book explains not only why we would want to take time for ourselves every day and how that would help us to develop ourselves, but also it tells us exactly what we can do and how we can make shorter or longer versions of it. So ideally, in the perfect world, you'd get up an hour earlier than everybody else in your house, and you would spend 20 minutes a day meditating and 20 minutes visualizing and 20 minutes writing and reading and a nice long walk, or do some great exercise in the morning, and then you would get that full 60 minutes. And if you can ever give that to yourself, like, that's a huge gift, and that is something to be grateful for. But if you can't, then you can break up that acronym, that SAVERS, throughout the day and get your things in for yourself. And then when you're looking back on your day, you can like check off, oh, see, I did this and I'm taking care of myself. That's like self-love, right? Hashtag self-love, and personal development. We're developing our personal self. which then everybody in our life can benefit from. So incredible, right? Incredible. Okay, this is a great place to start. If you haven't read this book yet, highly, highly recommend it. It's on Audible. I think it's like $8 on Amazon. It doesn't tell me right here, and then it comes with that PDF version that I said you could download, where it gives you the chart to do the 30 days, and it actually says like, okay, here's your, breakdown of savers, so that it helps you to remember every day, and then you can kind of tick off that you've done the S, the A, the V, the E, the R, the S. And as you're going through that, you'll just kind of start to develop these into your daily practice of like each day giving yourself a little bit of time to exercise, giving yourself a little bit of time to read, giving yourself a little bit of time to get quiet, maybe separate that chatted mind, the ego, from that self body, and just really start to pay attention to your own development. I mean, we spend so much time helping our family, helping our kids, training our dogs, but we don't really do any of those things for ourselves after a certain age. Once we've graduated from college or high school, we kind of put those things on the back burner because we've already learned everything that society has taught us we're supposed to learn. But I'm here to tell you that that is just like not even true, and there's so much more to learn. And for me, reading just feels like too good to be true. Like I just get to pick up this book and learn anything I want. It's definitely not something that I take for granted. I definitely feel grateful for it. The Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod, very first episode of Sharissa Reads. I cannot wait to share with you the rest of the books that are just like spinning in my mind. So much good information in these. So pick up a copy, let me know what you think of it, and I can't wait to hear from you. I hope you have a great week.